Hello and welcome to Uncensored Conservatism. This is episode number 332, and today we're going to look at some international news which probably did not make the headlines, starting here in Japan, where some prison reformers in the United States are looking to improve conditions. Over the past few years, Japan has had no prison riots, and prisoner violence against each other or guards is very, very rare. The reason? All levels of security of prisoners are required to work 9 hours a day. I mean, could prisoners in the United States backfill some of those agricultural jobs that illegals do? Inquiring minds want to know. Illegal African migrants are finding that sailing to Greece may be a no-go, so where now are they going? It seems that the friendly shores of Yemen are in their sights. Unfortunately, a boatload of Ethiopians capsized, killing at least 68, with 74 still missing. They're probably dead in the Red Sea. Actually, they're hoping to sneak into the rich Gulf states or Saudi Arabia, not Yemen itself. Several Christian villagers in Mozambique were recently beheaded by ISIS operatives because that's what they like to do. They also had their churches burnt, by the way. Yeah, we hear a lot about the so-called genocide in Gaza and nothing about the actual genocide of Christians in Africa at the hands of Muslim terrorists. Experts are warning that amid high inflation in Russia, the government is considering cost controls on major food staples. This has the unfortunate side effect of causing food shortages. The last time this was attempted in Russia, communism fell. And Russian troops and equipment have moved into neighboring Belarus to prepare for upcoming joint military exercises. They will take place in September, and NATO and Ukraine are warning they may be used as a pretext for a staging ground for further military aggression in Ukraine. And speaking of military exercises, Finland is welcoming American troops to that country to help train their military on the use of American hardware. The government is reminding citizens to be nice to the visiting Americans. Large-scale exercises are scheduled for later in the year with the Finnish troops. The number of Finnish children in 6th grade who say they can swim in Finland has dropped to a historic low after it was reported that 28 Finns drowned last month alone. The government is considering mandatory swimming classes in schools. And they complain about a fitness test here in the United States. Finland is also considering a cash for clunkers program to get old cars off the road and more environmentally friendly ones on the road. Not good enough, say the environmental groups in the country. It doesn't go far enough. I don't know what, they want, but anyway. A mining operation way up north in Norway is coming up under criticism and some protests by environmentalists and what are called the Sami people. Who are they, you ask? Basically, they're reindeer herders, or as they're better known, Santa's little helpers. So this next one is just kind of funny. The locals in Denmark have succeeded in having a statue of a mermaid removed, which they described as pornographic, given the statue's very large breasts. It's a very large statue, so naturally she has very large breasts. Some are saying it objectifies women. Well, it is an object of a woman, so, And here's an ironic situation. The government of the Czech Republic has outlawed communist propaganda, placing it akin to Nazi propaganda. However, the Communist Party in the Czech Republic is the strongest communist political party in all of Europe. It sounds like they're being targeted. Italy's tough anti-piracy shield law designed to protect sports is now going way beyond that purpose. Now, any television show, movie, or other entertainment is subject to the law and can be blocked as soon as 1/2 hour after determination of wrongdoing. So far, consumers have experienced disruptions on Google and even YouTube. An angry Italian at a train stop recently ranted, railed, and kicked at several tourists waiting for the train. Officials tried to calm the man down, but he complained, saying that he would be late for work because of all the tourists. Surprisingly, the tourists, all from Mexico, broke out in song singing John Lennon's Imagine, catching the man completely off guard. And that's a terrible song, by the way. Speaking of trains in Italy, a young woman returning from work on a train that was not overcrowded, since she was one of two people on it, was approached by that other passenger who happened to be a North African man. You can only guess what happened next. Horny North African, young Italian girl, nobody else on a moving train? You got it. He raped her. And speaking of North African men in Italy, police are on the search for a man from Morocco who fatally stabbed to death his wife. She was under a police protective order and phoned his presence, but it was too late. The man managed to leave the scene before the police arrived to find her dead body, and now they're looking for him, and they may want to check in Morocco. Woohoo! Germany set a record in 2024 for the number of gang rape suspects, with over 1,100 suspects identified. That's a lot of gang rapists. And guess what? 51% of them are foreign nationals and hail from countries like Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq, and Turkey. German retailers note a serious increase in the number of shoplifting incidents over the past year, estimated to be about 3 billion euros in lost revenue. Not only that, there's more organized shoplifting occurring and more high-end products being targeted. Officials also say the shoplifters are more aggressive than the past. The German AfD party's chairwoman, Alice Weidel, is taking NGOs in that country to task over their role in challenging the rejection of citizenship to an elderly Palestinian couple. Since they receive government benefits, the law demands a denial of citizenship if they are not financially self-sustaining. The law is the law, right? So Germany is trying to deport some illegal migrants, but they're finding it hard to find safe third countries, and the EU just made it harder. It seems that if Mr. and Mrs. Mohammed, who fled Syria, have nothing to fear now that Assad is gone, but because there's violence against other minorities, the Mohammeds cannot be deported back to Syria, even though they'd be perfectly safe in that country. It's a convoluted, weird system in Europe. This is Markus Söder, the leader or prime minister of Bavaria. He wants to cut government benefits to asylum seekers from Ukraine. They currently receive benefits identical to actual German citizens, and Germany is the only country that does this. You can't invite half the world in and not expect some financial problems. The German government has halted all military exports to Israel, citing a humanitarian crisis in Gaza and also demanding that Israel not annex that strip of land. Oh, and they have to make sure more aid flows to the terrorists. A recent poll out of Germany is truly shocking when it was revealed that 84% of respondents said they believe people are afraid to express opinions on a variety of topics for fear of repercussions. When asked, 54% said they have self-censored their opinions. That's free speech, European style. Bavarian police led raids on several suspected members of Reichsbürger Group. In all, 6 suspects were arrested amid suspicions they were planning to overthrow the government in Berlin. The Reichsbürger Group believes that the German Reich still exists, the constitution is illegitimate, and that Germany remains under Allied occupation. Things may suck in Germany, but this is going a little too far, guys. Chill out. Have a beer. And sadly, German authorities report that young people make up only 10% of their population. It would have been 8.5% if not for young Ukrainians fleeing the war in that country. But guess where young people are thriving in Germany? The Muslim communities. A 47-year-old man from Morocco, legally present in France, was recently caught by Latvian tourists in Paris lighting a cigarette from their Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Immediately identified from the videos, the man will now have his residency revoked, and he will be shipped back to Morocco. Amid a rising tide of crime committed by a surging Algerian population in one region of France, one judge voiced her frustration. Although they can be deported back to Algeria, they are often rejected by that country. Over the years, Algeria, a former French colony in France, have had serious disagreements over many issues, and this seems to be yet another one. The French equivalent of our Supreme Court struck down a provision that would extend the length of detention for illegal migrants from 90 to 210 days, claiming that it was disproportionate. Naturally, migrant groups and NGOs are ecstatic. And a French farmer took things into his own hands when pesky tourists trespassed on his land. He fired up some tractors and shot cow shit at them, driving them out of his meadow after they trampled the intended food for his livestock. So I can't say I blame this guy. In Spain, the town of Jumilla has banned the use of public spaces for religious festivals held by Muslims, especially around the time of Eid. The town of 27,000 is about 7.5% Muslim. Of course, Muslim leaders in Spain are really pissed about the move. It should be noted that the new law does not specifically target just Muslims, but all religious, cultural, or social events not organized by the city government. Yeah, right. In England, a Sudanese migrant living in a 3-star hotel in Manchester attempted to kidnap a 10-year-old British girl, but was caught. The scumbag will now stand trial later in this year, and that's what diversity gets you. And this is the beautiful English town of Nuneaton, where Ahmad Mukhalil and Mohammed Kabir, both from Afghanistan, did manage to kidnap a 12-year-old girl, and then, guess what, rape her. It's believed both entered the country illegally from France. Some are claiming officials told the town not to release their identity over fear of stoking anti-Muslim violence. Well, if you're a money saver in Great Britain, you're in for a surprise this year, as the government is targeting the interest on your savings for taxation and is expected to affect 2.6 million people with an average charge of 2,300 British pounds. The government hopes to raise £6 billion, I guess, to house more illegal migrants. Mums for Lungs in London is leading the charge to have diesel-powered vehicles banned from the roads in that city. They note that 114,000 children have been rushed to the hospital or clinics last year with respiratory ailments. This kind of puts a dent on that city using smog to block out sunlight to lower the world's temperature. This is Great Britain's Secretary for the Homeless, Rushanara Ali. Apparently, Ms. Ali is also a landlord who told her tenants she would not renew their leases. After they left, she then raised the rent for the new tenants by 700 British pounds. The Parliamentary Undersecretary for Homelessness and Rough Sleeping, that's her official title, she's doing her part to make people homeless and line her pockets. I wonder if the new tenants get a Muslim discount. By the way, she resigned. Bennabelle Marston was fired from her job at a Hilton hotel at the Gatwick airport because Hilton said her work was not up to par. Identifying as a black African woman, she said she sued Hilton for racial discrimination because, okay, get this, she didn't get a card or snacks on her birthday. Now, left unnoted was the fact the hotel ceased the practice for all employees previous to her birthday. Thankfully, the court dismissed the complaint, and quite frankly, she's shit out of luck. The staff at Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs is happy that the mandatory Guilt of Being British seminar has now been canceled. The seminar is geared toward learning the hurt South Asians felt being the victims of British colonialism. So being guilty of being British, that's diversity for you. Anyway, and finally, singer Billie Eilish is about as progressive or liberal as they come. Well, the little activist, all of 23, recently headlined a concert in Dublin, Ireland, where she, yes, that's a female, said they were proud of their Irish heritage and being around people who look like her. Oh, Jesus, bad move, Billie. It doesn't matter how much you support killing babies in the womb or what other progressive shit you attach yourself to. Those were code words, honey. You're a white nationalist now, up there with, Donald Trump and Sydney Sweeney. She was taken to the progressive woodshed on social media. Billie, you got some ass kissing and knee bending to do. Just remember, once you bend the knee, you take it up the ass. And that's it for today. Have a great day and a more pleasant tomorrow.